while he slept,
blonde.
well, if you prefer a red. What happened? What happened?
God made woman.
God made woman. Verse 21 of chapter 2, Genesis 2:21. So God caused a deep sleep to fall on the man, and while he slept, he took one of his ribs and closed up the place with flesh. And the rib which God had taken from the man, he made a woman, and brought her to him. And the man said, "This is bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of a man. Therefore, a man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife, and they become one flesh." Who was Adam's father and mother? No one. God made him. There was no father and mother of Adam. Why is this in here? Why is this verse all of a sudden in here? There's no father and mother of Adam. Why are we saying this?
Moral of the story.
That's the moral to the story. This is the first marriage. This is God's institution of marriage. I propose to you this is God's human reflection of what he did here. How God committed and loved the universe into existence is reflected in this verse. Human marriage is the reflection of that. Now, brace yourself. Remember how I kept saying everything gets more and more complex? What was the last being that God created? Huh? Man, right? But was that the end?
No.
Did God make one more creation?
Yes.
Woman. Did he create any more after that?
No.
Woman is the apex of creation. She is the most complex creature in all the universe. And I can hear, well, thank God someone finally acknowledges that. Amen?
Amen.
Ah, now we get the amen. Huh? But look how creation begins. Light, dark, sky, water. And what do we end up with? The very last thing? A woman. She is the most complex, the apex of creation. Adam was made from the dust of the ground. Woman was made from man. Where does man come from? The mud. Where does woman come from?
The red.
The body of man. The creation that God made. She comes from finer stock than man. Amen? Right? Isn't that what the story says? Huh? This isn't to be light. This is how the biblical narrative describes the creation of man and woman. And I think we've missed this somewhere in our relationships with one another. Okay? Now, God charges both of them to what?
Take care of the
To admar and shamar the garden. This is translated to till and to keep. But in Leviticus chapter 3, verses 1 through 8, it's called guard and protect. Same Hebrew words. It's to guard and protect. They were in charge of the temple of creation. All of this can be seen as a temple God is building. And he places them in the Holy of Holies of this temple, Eden. We've gone over this before. The Garden of Eden had what? Verse 10 of chapter 2. A river flowing out of Eden watered the garden. It divided into 4 rivers. 4 is a symbolic number of universality. It was the center of the universe. They give the names of the rivers, and it says Pishon is one of the flows over the land of Ivala, where there is gold. And the gold of that land is good. Bendelium and onyx are there. So they were walking on gold in Eden. Where else do you walk on gold, by the way, in the Bible? I've heard that somewhere. Where? Where specifically? A place? No. Not heaven. What?
The temple? No.
What? That's it. Say it again.
New Jerusalem.
The New Jerusalem. In the book of Revelation, remember? The book of Revelation that we just finished? Shame, shame. Oh, I was going to say, if I had a yardstick, I'd start wrapping people on the The New Jerusalem is not heaven. What is the New Jerusalem? The church. The glorified church. It's there that it says that there are streets of gold. So where Adam and Eve began, guess what? Is where we end. God intended for them to live walking on gold. This is not a mistake. This is not an error. These are not details that are like, that's nice, dear. Let's get on to the eating the apple business. No. There is a reason why this is the way it is. This is how God intended everything to be. And if we miss this, we're going to miss how to understand the love that God is calling us to be in, both with Him and with each other in the sacrament of matrimony. Yes?
Yes.
And it begins with understanding. It's no wonder the serpent attacked Eve and not Adam. It isn't because she was weaker. It was because she was the best of all creation, and the devil knew it. You don't attack the second fiddle. You go for the top banana. Woman was the highest point of all creation, and if I can corrupt her, everything else will collapse. The devil's not stupid. Adam was small potatoes at this time. The real power behind the man is the woman. We get to her and we corrupt her, we'll destroy the whole creation. dignity of woman. Why? And I've said this before too, but again, we have people that are new. Think about it. Biologically, women's entire bodies are designed to procreate and to nurture the life that they give birth to. A man can't do that. A man can't do that. A woman gives birth to new life, and immediately she can nurse it, give it food and nourishment, right?
Yes.
Can you give that baby to your husband and say, here, nourish him? What's he gonna do? Go to the 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee? He has no way of doing with that, right? Can a woman? Yes, absolutely. Yes.
At the point that you're saying, okay, but why God came after man and say like, he was in charge of the garden. You know what I'm saying? So
They both were.
No, but he was in charge. So he came to him and said like, you were the one, he was in charge of this. Why he allowed the woman to speak with the serpent. You know what I'm saying? So
We're getting to that. Hold that thought. We're getting there. We're going to see how it all falls apart. I'm setting it all up, but you're on the right track. Hold that thought. Hold that thought. Okay? I've said this before, but I'll say it again. A woman's body is designed to procreate and nourish the new life that comes. A man can't do that. When you think about it, our faith tells us that God individually creates a new soul at the moment of conception, correct? I mean, our doctrine of the Immaculate Conception says that, right? Mary was conceived from the very instance of her mother's womb, free from original sin, right? All of us, when we were initially conceived in our mother's womb, God infused in us a soul, a direct creation. Wasn't a hand-me-down soul from 2,000 years ago. It was a brand new life that God himself infuses. Now, where does that occur? But where is that? Inside the mother's womb, right? Inside a woman's body. So in other words, when a child is conceived in a woman's body, God reaches in and touches that body to get to creating that soul. Do you realize what a dignity that is? Does that happen to a man? No. No. God reaches down from heaven, if you will, and touches your body and infuses a new soul. That's an extraordinary dignity that man has no equivalent of. Not in that sense. Yes.
Just to argue a little bit, because I know that there's a compliment there, and in the sense that man is created in God's image. Christ came and incarnate. Prevenient, Mary received that grace from Christ. You know, so there's a dignity that we have as men to carry on in that abiding union with Christ, so that that dignity can continue.
Yes.
In the new Adam.
Yes.
Christ.
Yes.
We couldn't have a new Eve if we didn't have a new Adam.
Yes. Correct. You're right.
What did he say? Could you repeat it, please?
He was saying that there is a certain dignity that there is in the incarnation that redeems the body of man in the person of Christ. And that could not have occurred without correct me if I'm wrong, without the cooperation of the Blessed Virgin. She gave birth to Christ, who is the new Adam. And And that's right. And by doing that, he has redeemed mankind, men, in his image. And it's like, yes, I agree.
I read somewhere that they have taken a picture of the moment of conception, and it's a brilliant light that happens, with the minute the sperm touches the ovary.
Yeah, oh, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
there's actual physical brilliant light that happens. That
Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, that's good. The point I'm making is this. Where I'm going with this. The incredible attack and tearing down of the female throughout the centuries, I believe, is in part because of this attack that the devil has against the dignity of woman. That God would be, she would be the instrument through which God would procreate the rest of mankind. By direct contact, God directly touches the womb, the person, the female person, whenever a new life is conceived. This does not happen with men's bodies in the same manner.
But Chip, a problem was last Sunday's reading, this Sunday's, about Paul. A woman should be subjected to her husband.
Right.
It was a misinterpretation.
Yes.
They take it literally, and that's part of the problem.
We're getting that. I'm answering all of that by going back to the beginning. Back to the beginning, because our love relationships have been tainted by this kind of derogation or subjugation of men versus women. And in the beginning, it wasn't so. In the beginning, it wasn't so. And more and more I study this, the more I'm thinking, no wonder women have been attacked. No wonder sex has been